Okay, so it seems like recently Sameko Saba has been getting a little bit more backlash in terms of her hiatus, which I'm just gonna call a hiatus at this point. I don't even think it's like necessarily like she's just away for a bit. I do genuinely think she's just away on a hiatus. Now, of course, a lot of people have been having mixed feelings about it. And as I said, some people are angry, and she's got a lot of backlash from that. Some people are pretty understanding, and some people are in the middle, right? And I think it is a real mixed bag altogether. Now, if you don't know, Sameko Saba, has only been around for the last kind of year or so. Obviously, ever since she debuted after her past life at Hololive. But essentially, she hasn't been streaming an awful lot recently. The last time she streamed was about 3 months ago, and a lot of people, are pretty unhappy, right? Because they want to see her go live. They want to see more content from her. But again, it seems like she is unable to do that for whatever reason. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of conversation surrounding, should she kind of make a message and announce the fact that, she can't stream as much? Maybe that'd be more understandable for some people. Some people argue that she doesn't have to. Some people argue that, she should. And again, I think it is, again, a very mixed bag. But of course, she did actually leave a message all the way back in November, talking about the fact that saying, sorry for the very late notice, but streams and activity will be spotty for me for a little while as I deal with some health related issues. But as soon as I feel able, I will pop in. Thank you always for your patience. So yeah, obviously, it seems like she has been struggling with some health-related stuff. Now, again, I don't know if this has continued on until, May now, because, of course, we don't know what it is. She hasn't, said anything in specifics. And again, I would really go off of this kind of announcement that she put out, back in November to kind of give us an idea of what is going on. I do think it's pretty unfair that people are trying to go after her for not streaming when this could genuinely be an actual like health issue, right? And that is just a thing. Now, obviously, some people the biggest kind of topic that was going on was, like, for example, like the money making stuff. She was still doing collaborations and merch and whatever. Now, again, I don't see any problem with that necessarily. Because there's going to be a lot of fans of Saba anyways, and they could get some cool stuff. And if she does come back for a much more consistent kind of schedule, then of course they're going to have that cool merch, right? But I also think a lot of those kind of collaborations were already put in place before she decided that she needed a break, or before she decided she needed that little bit of time, because obviously stuff was going on, so they had to carry on with it despite her not streaming as much. So again, a lot of people were kind of like accusing her of, like, taking people's money and whatever while not streaming. And of course, the same goes for her memberships as well. You can, YouTube memberships, which obviously give her money, and it gives you some perks and stuff, especially for streams. And a lot of people were complaining about that too. Now, again, my opinion on that is essentially, if she's not giving you any content, then maybe, don't subscribe, or not subscribe, but don't, you get what I mean. I said subscribe like as in Twitch sub. Maybe don't, take out that membership, and maybe, come back and join that membership once again whenever she does return to streaming, right? Because I think it is one of those things, right, where it's just like, it's fair enough if you don't want to, support her in terms of membership at that time, because she's not giving you any content in return, right? And I think that, it sounds pretty harsh, but I think it's fair enough, right? Because people have a lot of money that they can go spend elsewhere, etc. And Saba isn't necessarily streaming and giving them the content that a lot of people would want. And I think that's fine, right? But I think some people complaining and demanding more content from her because they have a membership is a little bit stupid. Because of course, you've decided to join and put up a membership. And I think that if you're complaining 3 months in, and you're still complaining now about it, I think you are genuinely just stupid, right? Because I think that essentially, it's been 3 months. You know that she's not going to be live, and you're still taking out a membership now and complaining about the fact that just because you take out a membership and she's not streaming, apparently that's her fault. I think at maybe at 1 month's time, sure, I could understand that maybe you'd be a little bit upset because you didn't really get out as much as you want from the membership that you wanted. But I think if you're 3 months in, and potentially even 4 months in now, and you're still expecting stuff from her, and you're still giving her memberships despite that, and you're complaining about it at the same time, then, you know, I think that's your own fault then, because you've kind of realized that, hey, there isn't going to be any content, but you're still, you know, putting up that membership anyways. Now, of course, if you're a member and whatever, and you still want to support her regardless of the streaming, and whether she's doing it or not as well, I think that's also okay, right? If you want to support her through that, that's also cool. Again, you know, no problems with that. But essentially, there's also been a joke that has been going around within some of the discords and stuff like that. For example, this fake graduation post, which has kind of caught a lot of attention over on Reddit, which obviously says important announcement, Sameko Saba, and obviously, yeah, it's just like, looks like a graduation type thing, right? People saying, bros, not like this. They said, did he predict it? Accordingly, this is just a joke. Enjoy the meme, guys. Now, of course, yeah, this is not real, but it has kind of asked the question, you know, would this ever happen? Would Saba ever graduate? Would this be a thing that could happen in the future? And I think, honestly, no. I think that, you know, Saba, whenever she moved away from corpo kind of VTubing, I think what it has given her is a lot more flexibility with her, you know, health and whatever, that she can take these breaks and that she can, you know, do what she likes, essentially, in terms of her scheduling and in terms of being a VTuber, right? Because she could not upload for the next year and come back and that'd still be fine, because at the end of the day, she's not a corpo VTuber. Now, of course, if she was a corpo VTuber and didn't stream for a year, that would be a little bit of a problem. But because she's indie, you know, the beauty of being an indie streamer or an indie VTuber or whatever is the fact that you can do whatever you want, right? You can literally do whatever you want. And if you want to take that long break and come back, you know, another time, that's totally up to you, right? And everything is within your control, and nothing really kind of warrants graduating, right? Unless you wanted to leave the internet completely and didn't want to interact with it completely, nothing ever warrants graduating or not being around anymore. Unless, obviously, the only time that I think I've really seen indie VTubers graduate is A, they give up and they don't want to, you know, they don't want to stream anymore. They don't want to be on social media anymore, like completely, like 100%, they're completely out of it. Or B, they're joining an agency, right? Those are the two times that, you know, usually you would see them graduate. And obviously Saba, I'm assuming she's probably not going to be joining an agency, considering she was in one. And you know, of course, you know, I don't think that she would want to leave streaming altogether either, right? You know, even if she is an inconsistent streamer, you know, doesn't stream every couple of months or so, you know, that's still up to her, because it is her channel. She could do what she wants, right? And obviously, I hope that people would kind of support that if that is what she wanted to do. But again, obviously, that's just like, that's, you know, I'm not saying she is going to do that, but that's just something that could be a possibility. They said, heard she's joining an indie group called Nijisaji. That I've heard about them. They're Ian Branch doing very well. She's in very good hands. Said, I hope she joins Hololive. So Daniel Ricciardo leaving Red Bull, doing stints at McLaren and Renault, and then going back to racing bulls. Like, you know, I think they mentioned they let her back in indirectly. Cover Corp made a statement saying they would accept graduated talents back if the circumstances are right. I mean, that's pretty cool. But again, I don't know if that's the case. Obviously, you know, people would talk about her medical stuff. I don't know if there's, you know, there's speculation. They're saying she has a heart condition, and then people said, yeah, like, this is just speculation. Stop making stuff up. Which again, yeah, I think that's stupid, right? We don't know what issue she has, you know, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's anything, right? And of course, whatever it is obviously impeding her from going live. But I don't think we should be speculating on exactly what it is, unless, of course, she tells us what it is, right? As you know, people say, one, like, it's fake. Two, if it was, I would be worried on how toxic VTuber fans really are. Not getting into it, I don't want to be cancelled. Did I agree? Most of the things I've seen about her have been complaining about the various levels of vitriol. It's kind of sad. Any normal person who actually checks somewhat of her struggles and would be understanding and just live life and just check in now and then, which I think is, yeah, fair enough. So this is coming from the perspective of someone who doesn't really watch VTubers, and especially not live. I don't blame people for being annoyed if they are paying to be a member. That to me does seem like a waste of money. I don't blame anyone for wanting to abandon ship until she returns, but anything above that is pretty pathetic considering our situation generally. And yeah, I think they've got a good idea there, right? Obviously, you can be annoyed and whatever if you're paying a membership, but I think that if you're still paying a membership now and you're complaining about it, that she's not giving you content and you're paying a membership, I think, yeah, it's then your fault. It's then your problem because you are still paying that membership. You know, stop paying the membership, okay? Like, you don't have to. And, you know, I'm not saying as well, of course, you know, as I said before, doesn't mean you have to give up your membership completely and stop being a fan of Sameko Saba 100%. All you have to do is wait until she returns and then you know, take it out again and see if you like it. And then if you don't like it, well, you know, you can unmembership again. Or if you like it, you can stay a member and hopefully things will get better, right? I think that is just the way that I view it. Again, right? Saying she has no reason to do a grad stream though. She could suddenly disappear forever to never stream again, and people would keep their membership going anyways. A grad stream would just make a good chunk of people remember to cancel it, which I guess is true. But again, I don't think she's like necessarily thinking about that. Like, let's be real. I don't think Saba's thinking, how many people can I cheese out of a membership? And hopefully have them, you know, still being a member to me without knowing that I've actually gone on a break and I'm actually taking all these people's money, right? I just think it's stupid because at the end of the day, these people have chosen to, you know, give their memberships to her and they're still continuing to do that. So, you know, I feel like it's their fault, right? It's not necessarily her fault that people want to, you know, put a membership towards her, right? But yeah, I mean, that is essentially all there is for this situation. I just kind of want to keep you guys up to date because I thought this, you know, joke was pretty funny. But in the sense of, you know, it was an interesting thought to say, like, you know, would she ever graduate? I don't think she will because, of course, you know, I think it's one of these things where being an indie VTuber allows you to have much more flexibility, and that flexibility, you know, avoids graduation quite a lot of the time, right? But yeah, I mean, that is essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to Game Subs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. So yeah.